I'm JJ Barnes and you're watching another episode of Creative Writing Advice. If you don't know me, I am the author of How to Write a Story as well as other books. And this month of August, you can win a signed copy of How to Win a Story with Siren Stories by subscribing once on www.sirenstories.co.uk, and you'll be entered every month into the competition for free, and this month is a signed copy of How to Write a Story. I also have a film in production and a TV show in production as well as other books out, so you can find those online. So today I'm going to be talking to you about how to write a conflict engine. So a conflict engine is something you need if you are writing a series of books or a TV show, something that keeps the conflict alive. So the conflict of your story is the protagonist wants something, the antagonist wants to stop them getting it, and that journey, that is the conflict as long as they are motivated to get what they want, trying to get what they want, and they don't have it. Your conflict is alive, and the conflict is what makes your story interesting. If your story has no conflict, nobody wants anything, they are just living, they are just existing, it's not very interesting. So you need to have conflict in every part of your story. And if you are writing a series, say a TV series, where it goes out every week if it's on network, or if it's just a big long bunch to binge watch on Netflix, you have to have conflict in every single episode. Which, unless you're doing long form, in which case it's one conflict that just continues, and it's kind of like a really like 12-hour long movie. If you are doing episodic storytelling, you need to have conflict in every story, which means you need to have a conflict engine. This is something that generates conflict for every single episode, every single time you go back. And it has to be something clever. So, I'm going to talk to you about the TV show Bones first of all. The conflict engine in Bones is the murders. So it's essentially every week there is a different murder. If there was no murder that week, there was nobody who died, no bones that needed looking at, no bodies that needed dissecting, there would be no episodic conflict. Now there's always the long form story conflict, but that is not going to sustain this TV show. It has to have a murder every week. Now, luckily, we live in quite a dangerous world. So Bones and Booth, every single episode, have somebody who's died and something that they have to, a mystery they have to solve, someone they have to catch, a bad guy. And that is the conflict engine. Frequent murders. If you think about the TV show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the conflict engine in that is the Hellmouth. The Hellmouth is what draws bad monsters and terrible things and terrible crises to Sunnydale every single episode. If there was no monsters and no bad guys and no crises for Buffy to deal with and mysteries to solve, there would be no conflict. You have to have a reason the monsters and the baddies are drawn to Sunnydale. 13 Reasons Why has a very simple but very effective conflict engine in the first series, and I'll just talk about that one because the others are different. In the first series, and obviously the book of 13 Reasons Why, every episode is a tape. It's a tape that they listen to that talks about somebody who is to blame for Hannah Baker's suicide. So every single week you are finding something new, and that tape is resolved. And that is the important thing about a conflict engine. Every time you look at one conflict, it has to be resolved by the end. Overarching conflicts will go the length of the series. Episodic conflicts are resolved each time. Now, you need the overarching conflict of your series for consistency and to keep drawing back for the potential romance or the potential disasters, something that makes the humanity of your characters interesting. But the conflict each week, episodic conflict, is what makes each episode fun and exciting and recognisable. You know which one it is. It's the man on the fairway, it's the girl in the fridge, for Bones. And that conflict is resolved. You can do a two-parter, but that's kind of like one giant conflict. But the point is, your episodic conflict, for the most part, unless you are doing a to-be-continued two-parter episode, each one is resolved, and then you need a new one. What is your conflict engine? Something that causes their niche market of entertainment for you, something they do, what causes the next one? In Buffy, every episode, you want her to be fighting a monster. She's a slayer, that's what she's there for. Every episode there needs to be a reason that a monster is there. Hellmouth. In Bones, every episode you want Booth and Brennan to be solving a murder and bodies to be cut up and bugs to be eating flesh and all the grossness. There has to be a reason. If you have no reason for a conflict to be present in each episode, it just kind of coincidentally happens, that's unbelievable and it's not very good. Or you don't have conflict in every episode, you're just sort of following these people in their lives and it's like, okay, we're doing this, but there's no real reason we're here, and every so often there's a mystery to solve or something happens, but for the most part we're just plodding. It's not entertaining. You've got to throw conflict at it, and you've got to have a reason there's conflict. So look at your story. If you want to be writing this into a series, if you want to do episode after episode or book after book, what is the reason every single time you start a new story, a conflict is active? You can create one easily. If you want to have monster fighting, create a version of the Hellmouth. It's not a real thing, you just create it, and it immediately explains why your monster fighting happens each time. It just means that every single time you start the episode, your audience gets what they want, which was that protagonist going for that thing, which is solving the crime or fighting the monster. And you are entertaining because there's a reason it's there, it's a reason it's happening, and it's more fun watching people go for something and try to achieve a goal, solve a crime, fight a monster, than it is just watch them living. No one will tune in for that, no one will bother, not entertaining. And your job is essentially an entertainer. So I hope this has been useful to you. Talk to me, what are your favourite conflict engines? Look at series you like, look at shows, look at books, and work out what is causing every story a conflict to happen. What is it? Drop a comment below with your favourite examples, because I like to talk about them, and we can come back and do another video where I talk about your examples and what makes it work. I like to sometimes do a video specifically on a writer or a film, something about their style. You might have seen me do ones about books, because if you look at a specific story, you can take that example and grow it into your own. Please subscribe to these videos. I'm doing Monday, Wednesday and Friday at 9:30. I also have a big back catalogue of writing advice videos you can find, covering all kinds of writing topics, using all examples, all things that hopefully you will know, or if you don't know, are easy to find and access. I don't tend to do very high literary things because I want these videos to be as accessible as possible to everybody. I will be back again soon. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.